Forgiveness. That is what we're talking about today. It's really important to do, but not easy to do.
It's a biggie, Roxanne.
Yeah, so we're going to take a little bite-sized chunk and give you today something actionable you can do. We're not going to dive deep in, but enough you're going to feel better after having watched.
Speaking of actionable, we're also, our complimentary gift to you is our 5 proven ways to reduce your stress. They're all a little bit different. Something might strike a fancy for you. All of them might work for you. But give yourself this gift today and get going. The link for that is in the description below. Again, this is Tara and Roxanne, and we are here to help you calm your mind so you can enjoy your life. And having said that, let's talk about forgiveness.
That's a great idea.
It is.
Although, being Tara for a day sounds appealing too.
Oh, dear. I don't know. I could try being you.
You wouldn't like it.
I don't know. It might be kind of fun. I might get away with some things that I would normally do.
That's true. She would. So forgiveness, it permeates all areas of our lives, right? I mean, there's all sorts of scenarios where we need to forgive not only others, but ourselves. And that's one of the bigger things to do. And so what we're going to encourage you to start with the tools that we're giving you today, is smaller things that are still important, and I'm not trivializing them in any way, but they're not so big that they trigger you and you end up in a fetal position in the corner.
Right.
So that wouldn't be beneficial in motion forward. Forgiveness is a muscle, and we have to practice that and really build it up.
Strengthen it.
Absolutely. Thank you. That's a better word. And so that's what we're going to do today.
Absolutely. And as you mentioned, there are so many different kinds of situations or life events that you need to forgive. Family, friends, children, spouses. It just goes on and on and on.
It really does. People lie to you or betray you or, take advantage of you in some way or, just all sorts of things. So, and I'm sure that you can think of one. Do you have one you could think of? You don't have to share it.
Okay, yes.
Yes. Yeah, me too. Right. I went through this process. I will tell you, it's not always a pretty process to go through, but tremendously helpful and healing. And you just get that freedom you so desperately deserve. And I went through it, and I didn't even believe at the time that I deserved the freedom. But that was the end result. So, hey, happy day. It's like icing on the cake. Now I realize that I do, and it's all good. But trust me, at the end of this, you're really going to be glad you did it.
Okay, so what would step 1 be, honey?
So, first thing you're going to do, and like I said, it's not easy necessarily, but you're going to write down what happened. Objectively, right? So, what's that old show that said, give me the facts, man, just the facts?
Right, yes.
Like Dragnet or something?
Yeah.
Yes.
Just the facts.
Yes, we're old. In case you're wondering. Look it up. It's on YouTube. I'm sure it is. Dragnet. Just the facts, man. Because, and now, let me quantify one thing, though. We're not recommending that you do this 2 minutes after something bad happens to you. You need a shock process, a time to go through the shock. You need a time to process and just to organize and stabilize.
Right.
Before you can
and you
try
might
to
feel
forgive.
a little bit bad in that process because you just got to feel sorry for yourself a little bit.
Absolutely.
And then you can really start to think.
Yes. Don't let all those emotions go and do whatever you need to do, depending on the gravity, of course, of the infraction that's been done against you. But when you're ready to forgive and you just can't, that's where this process comes in. You know you need to. It's time, but you're not sure how. So that's where we're at. So you're going to write down just objectively, here's what happened. And you'll be like, and part of you is probably going to say, this doesn't feel fulfilling because it doesn't tell the whole story. I get it. Totally fine. Do it anyway.
That's right.
Just write down the facts. Now, number 2, go in and write down how you feel about it. And this is a little trickier than you might believe because we tend to use, what would you call it? I want to call them safe words, but that's the wrong thing to call it. That's
Well, they're
a whole
almost
different thing.
cliche words. They're almost a
Yeah.
description that covers something rather than actually the.
Umbrella
Oh, that's
words.
good. That's a good word.
So if you say like, I was betrayed. I feel betrayed. Well, that's a good word that everybody understands when they hear it, but you're not addressing your actual feelings about it. Because when somebody did the whatever to betray you, it made you feel worthless or disposable or devalued. I feel unattractive. I feel diminished in some way. Maybe all my friends went out without me and they lied because they don't want me there. So I feel unimportant. I feel,
I would have a big one. I would feel sad. That would be a huge feeling for me.
Absolutely. And so you really want to identify what those are. Otherwise, we carry them with us. What happens is, as people, we'll say, this person did this thing to me, and I'm the victim. They did that to me, and now that just is. So now I just don't trust people. I mean, I cannot count how many times I've heard that. I just don't trust people. That's the lesson. Just don't trust people. No. No, if you're not bringing all your baggage into everywhere, people usually respond to you quite differently. And the ones who would do something bad to you that are the same as the feelings you're not acknowledging, you probably wouldn't allow into your life to begin with. Once you acknowledge those feelings, you can't ignore them, pretend they don't exist.
Another good thing to recognize, Roxanne, is maybe what could you have done differently, or maybe could you have seen something in the situation sooner and stop letting it progress. So your feelings progress the way they did.
And this is not an invitation to beat up on yourself or make yourself the bad one or to blame the victim in any situation. First of all, you're not a victim. No. But it's not that shaming kind of idea, but it is imperative to take a minute and figure out what role did I play in this.
Absolutely. How I contributed. I think that's the only way really that you're going to get your power out of the situation, that you're going to actually see and own. But by owning, you can move past it, you can learn, take those skills and go forward.
Because if you can look and say, like she said, and I'm just repeating.
Confirming.
What could I have done differently? If I knew, like, looking back, when I saw this or that happen, or I heard this, my gut told me one thing. I talked myself out of it. But I did know. I did get that clue. I chose not to listen, and that's fine. No judgment, no shaming around it. But you realize that you did get that hint. You understand. Yeah.
That's how you're not going to let this repeat. You're going to actually learn from it and not repeat this.
The whole point in this is to realize that you are empowered and that you do have choices moving forward, because if it feels like everything just happens to you, you're going to be afraid to leave the house at some point.
Given all that power.
Yeah. You're going to be afraid to enter other friendships and relationships or whatever that looks like, and you're going to walk around it as damage. And I have met these people, and it is so sad. And they work really hard to get out of that mindset. And so this is one of the biggest opportunities to catch it right now when you're forgiving people. And forgiveness, I also want to say real quick, does not mean condoning.
Right.
It doesn't mean it's fine. What you did to me was totally fine. No, it means I've taken the lesson and I've come to peace with it, and I'm going to let it go. I'm not going to carry it with me anymore. I just thought maybe we should. I just felt the need to throw that in there somewhere.
I think it's good. I think it's very good.
But, yeah, otherwise, you're going to carry it to every aspect of your life. And it's not good. So you got to figure out what your role in it was without judgment, which is hard.
It is very hard.
Like I said, this is a messy process, but a rewarding one.
Right.
And necessary.
Being human is messy, though.
It's
right up our alley of what we need to do. And then comes the other flip side of look at them as humans and...
I know. You're going to have to actually look at them as... Say it's a father, for example, and I'm not bashing fathers. I love men. Okay, let's say it's a mother. We'll take mothers.
Okay.
Yeah, okay. And let's say your mother wasn't the mother you think a mother should be, right? So you're like, okay, well, she did this when I was younger, she didn't do that, and
Right.
so now I am stunted some way or damaged in some way, and you've been carrying this kind of persona your whole life thinking, well, because I didn't have the bonding that, I don't know, the TV moms used to give or my friend, but truth be told, you have no idea what happened when you weren't at that house.
That's
But
right.
but we get this idea of what we think we should have gotten, and if we didn't get it, then right. So this process is, let's look at them as humans. So let's take mom, for example, and say, okay, well, when I was 10, she was about 34. And now if you're 34 and older, you can look and say, okay, what was her deal like? Let me step back and look at it. Well, okay, she was married to a man that, or freshly divorced, or whatever that looks like, whatever her personal situation was. She was dealing with her own things that she grew up with, and your grandparents, so there probably was a thing here and there. You know what I mean? And we're not putting anybody down, we're just looking at it realistically. She was doing the best she could, and she reacted to me or this way, or she wasn't able to give me whatever, because she probably didn't have it at the time.
She didn't have the tools.
And she did the best she could at that time. And that is true for everyone, including you. Everybody does the best they can with the tools that they have at their disposal at any given time. And when we know better, we do better, right? Ideally. Some choose not to learn better skills, and so they do go around, acts not intentionally, but they end up hurting people by their behaviors and their actions. And so they're just kind of like, think of Peanuts? You remember Peanuts with and Pigpen, how he had that kind of dust cloud around him? You got too close to him, you were getting dirty. Yeah. And some people kind of walk around that way. They never choose to learn a different behavior to perform, and that's their choice. Right. But it has to be okay. It doesn't make them an evil person. It actually makes them very sad. And they did the best they could. So you don't have to hate them to not be with them.
Absolutely.
Right? Yeah.
Absolutely.
But you can still set a boundary. You don't go, you know what? I get it, you poor thing. Now I'm going to give you compassion, and I'm going to just erase everything you did, and it's fine. No. Right. You're letting that situation go, going, I played a role, you played a role, I got hurt. That's a deal breaker, so I'm not going to have that in my life anymore, but I don't hate you, and I wish you well.
Absolutely.
Yeah, that's the ideal goal. And so we're going to do a little exercise here, and I'm springing this on Tara.
I've never done this exercise.
So once you've kind of reconciled with that, and so you're like, I would love to see those things, but I still have feelings about this in a certain way, and I'm having a hard time. I tear up a little bit, or I get anxious, or I can feel it in my body when I think about a particular person or thing they did. So here's what you do. Take a big deep breath. I'm going to uncross my legs because it seems to flow better when your legs are on the ground, not crossed.
Okay.
Just take a big deep breath. In through the nose, out through the mouth. Do this with us. You're going to love it. Takes a second. Breathe in. Hold it. Breathe out. Okay, kind of relax in your chair. Get into a comfortable spot. And close your eyes. And picture just a big white, like an open room. Like there's nothing there. It's this open space. Okay? And then picture that person standing there in this open kind of oblivion space. And what you say to them mentally is, I forgive you. Do you forgive me? And then you listen. And you look right in their face, and they're just standing there. There's no judgment. There's no reaction from them. You're just asking them, I forgive you. Do you forgive me? And then go to another person. And that's it. Open your eyes. Yeah, and you sit there with them for a minute, as long as you can. And your mind might pop in and go, I don't need forgiveness from this one. Do you know what you did to me? And start justifying, even in that interaction you're having with them in your head, why you did what you did. And that's when you know you have to kind of open your eyes and come back to these steps again.
Try.
Absolutely. But when you can actually, and they smile at you and they nod at you, and you feel peace when you're looking at them and asking for forgiveness, and they're giving it to you as well, you're good. You're good.
All righty.
It takes a few practices, so don't think it's going to happen on one. Or maybe it might. And then eventually you're looking at yourself.
Oh boy.
Forgive yourself.
That's a biggie.
It's great though.
I bet it is.
Yeah. So that's all we have for you today. So thank you so much.
Absolutely. And we'd love to hear any feedback you want to share if you try some things and things are working. And don't forget the 5 proven ways to reduce your stress. That link is below as well. And
maybe let us know which step is the easiest and which one was the most challenging.
Love to know
for
that.
you to do. Yeah, because
Love
I
to
bet
do
it's
that.
so different for so many of us.
Mm-hmm.
So that would be a really good conversation to have. Explore that a
Absolutely.
little bit. So yeah.
And again, Tara and Roxanne, we're here to help you calm your mind so you can enjoy your life. Thanks for being with us
Thank
today.
you. See ya.